any side, right? We don't want that for the modern, because the modern world is so skilled in murder and destruction. I know it's daydreaming. You talking about the impossible dream? This is one of them. But I know myself, I'm a dreamer anyway, and I'm an adventurer. That's why I just jump on a boat or a plane and go anywhere in the world. A long time ago, when nobody would leave home, they stay in America and go to prison. I say, hey, adventurer, a dreamer and an adventurer. I'm still the same way. I believe we have to help make a better world or better people before the transition. We've targeted the ones that are going to be the hardest to forgive anybody. That's the poor white folks. They take humiliation bad. They don't take it good. They bad as Japanese. You know the Japanese, they did Nanking, 1937, hundreds of thousands of people. All they should do is go to the Chinese now that they're big and say, hey man, we're sorry. That's 80 years ago, 75 years ago. Hell, it is 80 years, excuse my language, it is. Is that 80 years ago, 1937? It is 80 years ago. The Japanese won't apologize. The Chinese are out of room and everything. Why don't they just work in harmony? All the Japanese got to do is say, man, he was a little overhanded, you know, in those days. They won't do it. Now we call on the Chinese to forgive the Japanese for being bad. You know why? Because Japanese, you know, when they make a mistake, they'll cut this, they'll commit. So it's hard for them to say, I made a mistake. And then after time he had to commit suicide because of his ego. He's crazy. Okay. Yeah, I mean, that's just their culture. It's not crazy to them. It's actually good. It's honorable.
Right.
But if you got to go tell somebody, man, we made a mistake, although I wasn't born till 40 years later, you know what I mean, and I had nothing to do with it, we're sorry for that. Then Japan and China could unify, and they could knock the whole, nobody could touch them, because they're number one and number two. They bad. If they don't do it, the U.S. will use them. Use Japan against China, you know what I mean? This is dumb stuff. So, this is another thing. When I talk to Chinese and Japanese, they look at me like, how does a nigger understand our culture as good as we do with our history? You know, it's okay, no problem. Just a gift, it's a gift. But in closing, look, we can all see the way things are going. The United States of America, as the great one, is already finished. That's already passed. The momentum is declining. You know, anything big, when it's headed in a certain way, it's hard to stop it. The momentum of America is going down. It's hard to stop it. Everybody knows that. So we anticipate the decline of America. We anticipate what we see in the world. We have anticipated it. And Don, boy, he just, you talking about an accelerant, you know what I mean? That boy, all the things we said, accelerate the decline. Don come in, and they on the world stage and say, we're not going to do no, what is it, the Paris Accord? You know, the climate. Mm-hmm. I got that climate. I saw something in there about the climate. The climate, here it is right here. This is just for climate deniers. Even after 3 decades, footprint of oil well remains in the Arctic wildlife refuge. This is 30 years ago. You can still see they can't get nothing to grow. It won't, you know, this is an oil well 30 years ago and more. They capped it and closed it off. Now, what do they say? Well, the stuff is melting up there. What do we want to do? Drill in the Arctic. A pristine environment. Why? Because they're greedy, right? And they got their own well, many of them, and this one here, they said this, after 30 years of being capped, you still can't get nothing to grow on the permafrost. You can't, they already know. But do that make them say, man, we better not drill in the Arctic, man, because you know, look what we'll get. Do they say that? Heck no. And so we better get to have our father Russians, and we're gonna. That's what all we got to do to figure out what is our mission. Look in the newspaper. This is the front page. This is the paper from today. Right, you read it? This is all from today.
I saw it at the store, so.
All these are today's story. We don't have to look around and say, what do we have to fix? What do we have to stop? Our concern is this, that definitely the decline had set in. When the decline set in, all the people, the guy, I know all the big boys would be big in town, and when they on the way up and when they big, they might pick on a few people, which we never did. You know, during what we call my administration, nobody ever even got beat up. Can you imagine? So-called drug dealers with an army of militants, and nobody in my administration, definitely wasn't no killings that had anything to do with us. We never even beat nobody up. And we in a business that they set people on fire, throw them off the roof. It's a mean business. Nobody, last time I was in Oklahoma, last year, telling the guy that was lieutenant, he was in charge of all that. I said, we never even beat nobody up, right? He said, that's right, but we were sure ready. In other words, they're young, they wanted to use their muscle. So I said, why should we harm people, make people happy? So they didn't like spending money on people and having shows and parties so that people would come out here. Hey, what else you gonna do with the money? So now, the other guys, when they start coming down, everybody said, yeah, that was big so-and-so there. Now the other people that you done spit on and took their little girlfriend, you know what I mean, humiliated a little bit in front of their girlfriend now. You getting old and broke, and they're on the way up, and they remember you. They remember me too. Yeah, Mr. Reeves, shit, man, you took us up, da-da-da-da-da. When a lady came by, this was 25 years ago, 30 years ago. She came by the Masjid, I think they was driving a Rolls Royce or something. Tight, she was fine as she could be. She came out, jumped out, gave me a hug. Didn't push her off or nothing. Don't you remember me? I'm so-and-so's daughter. You used to give us a big kiss and take us and buy us ice cream. I said, why don't we just start off where we left off? Keep on the same route. But it was funny. They just laughed. But it was funny. That's what we did. That's why I don't have no enemies in Oakland. I ain't did nothing to nobody. We got to develop that and pass it on. It's going to take a lot of teachers because, see, if you don't feel good about yourself, you can't treat other people good either. In fact, you'll be mad at everybody. Everybody looks like they're doing better than you. You'll be mad at them. So we have to have a lot of humane, sociological, we got to do a lot of teaching. We got to teach a lot of Islam without calling it Islam. This is the problem with revolutions. They don't have a policy of tazkiyah bil nafs. They don't even know what it is. So when they take power, this is what we was trying to get power. What we wanted, right? They don't want power to do good. We got a big job. We got to help the evolutionaries, protect and be kind to and forgive the mean old white man. Now, how about that? That's our job. Why is it our job? That's because the job we chose. We chose that job. We chose that job because that's where things is going. And just like I said, this guy, he looked down and he saw, man, if I would have did like anybody else, I would have been effed up bad. I would be in jail the rest of my life. I would be in and out of prison. I would have, and I wouldn't have been and seen. Can you imagine when you were, like I said, last week Don said everything. And we had a unity meeting in Tehran with people from all over the world for unity. That stuff happens all the time. If I wouldn't have looked down and saw what was going on and investigated and said, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, man, look at here, I'm telling you, that trip to jail is the best trip I ever had. That's why I was glad to go back for a couple of more days. Because it was just, you're there looking at everybody. You're looking at a rotten system, how efficient they are at jailing you, arresting you, booking you, and that's the way the government works, here and everywhere. But go down and ask the government for something that you got coming, see how efficient they are. Come back next week. Da-da-da-da-da. Right? They're efficient. DC used to be so efficient at parking tickets and all of that, it was unbelievable, right? But anything else you got coming, it'd take you 6 months to get it. This is why they had a revolution in this country. America's in a decline. We want to help. We don't want to. We want to help the world become a better place. There's too much of this already. We don't have to live the world. The news, front page news, don't have to be like this. It's like this because we let it get like this. So if we want to, I was going to get a little coffee this morning, and everybody had songs about this is supposed to be the peaceful season and the Prince of Peace. I said, man, y'all might as well be singing jingle bells. The Prince of Peace. And then I go right down there and look at the newspaper. I said, boy, the people, they don't realize they got to work. A dream is beautiful. You have a dream, you have a vision, then you work to build it. They just dream and sing. That's the problem with the church and actually it's the problem with the Muslim. That's why was so few people, a lot of the buses came from Wisconsin and everywhere. And the people in all of them, there's satellites out here, a few miles away. I don't know whether it's 28 satellites or they wasn't there. Something's wrong. Thank you very much. Are there any questions, any comments?
Yeah, so we have one comment. It was just the brother, Chowdhury Faruqi Azam. He said, may Allah bless you. And Kwame Madden asked the question.
Right.
He said, I'm tuning in late, but the United States is bogged down still in Afghanistan. Why won't they leave this war? Is it because they have a long-term agenda for oil up to Caspian Sea that they can't accomplish, but they are still determined? Basically asking, why are they in Afghanistan?
Okay. It's like a bear trap. It's a graveyard of empires. Everybody knew, don't go in there. A trap just traps you, right? The Russians got in there, and when they went in there, they was a mighty Soviet Union. When they left, they was a Russian Republic. It had collapsed, or it was getting ready to collapse. What the Afghans did to the Soviet Union, it wore it down and it destroyed it as an empire. The Great Game is 200, 150 years, 200 years ago. Something like that. The Great Game, Khyber Pass. You ever heard of Khyber Pass? Khyber Pass, 1854. The Afghans cleaned the British clock. At that time, the British ruled the world. The sun never set on the British Empire. But the Great Game between Russia and around Afghanistan, okay? Afghanistan got a little natural gas, but it don't have no oil or nothing like that. Iran got the natural gas and the oil. It's not necessarily resources. They're there because they got trapped in there. And their ego won't let them go. They can't leave. If they've been there 16 years, more soldiers are dying in Afghanistan, American soldiers from suicide, bam, than getting killed by the, everybody is rebuilding. Even the Islamic Republic is working some little funny stuff with old-time Taliban. Yes, they are. All kind of, you give that much time, you give people time to, the shift will set in till you, the United States of America, do not belong here. And you give everybody time to settle in a little here and there, and now everybody is focused on the U.S. And it's a big guy that used to be bad and won't retire, like an old boxer that gets punched drunk. He just goes in there like Tyson and guys like that, just keep fighting and fighting. And pretty soon they're a punching bag. You know, that's what America is now. America is a punching bag. They can't, there's nothing to win, and whatever way they go, they see it as a loss. If they leave, they lose. We lost. If they stay there, they get nagged and grabbed and, you know what I mean, death by 1,000 cuts. It's miserable. See, jihad and nafs, tazkiyah bil nafs is big. Because if you're in control of your nafs, you don't care what the egos say or what the people say. Like I was reading a part about myself, I said, and anybody, this is for everybody. If the person want to see what is in, are you really believing that Islamic stuff, that good and evil? Wow. Then a voice cries out, hey, would you like to have a look and see how this stuff works out? Or if you didn't look down, and this way down means down into the fire, you know. See what was the end? Your ego won't let you say, okay, I'm wrapping it up. I can't do nothing for y'all. It ain't working. They can't do it. Because when Allah wrote, look, the guy, what's his name? He was talking about him the other day. He's got an Irish name.
Alfred McCoy.
That's him. That's Alfred McCoy. He was the one. Did you remember what he was saying? He was talking about. He talked about empire the same way he did.
Right.
He's what he said. when the empire is on the way up, it's like America.
Right.
When it's on the way up, it's a slaughter, it's enslaved blacks, it don't make no difference. It's on the way up. Allah got it scheduled that it's going up. And it's going to be tried and tested with power, with wealth. If it was lucky, it would be tried with poverty and stuff. That's a smaller trial than being tried with wealth and power. Because you got power and you got wealth. When it's on the way up, you're just on the way up. And I saw it in the dunya. Niggas was headed to be big. They made a lot of mistakes, but they was headed up. When you headed down, everything goes wrong. Look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a perfect example of U.S. It's on the way down. He looks for, it seems like somebody hired this man. He's hired. He got to be. I mean, okay, the political thing, but still in the back of my mind, I'm saying, man, somebody gave him a job. He owed somebody, but they told him, we'll give you broke, we'll give you $50 billion. You go in there and screw it up. Bad. That's the way you do it. Look, tell the truth. If it's 3 decisions to make, a good decision, a neutral decision, and a bad decision. He goes over here, the worst decision. He makes the worst statement at the worst time, all the time. I don't care what it is. It don't make no difference. So, America has no more prestige, right? He snatched that away. The white folks in Europe don't trust him because you can't keep your word, right? You get out of the Paris thing. You get out and talk about the 5+1 Iranian thing. And it's working, man. Everything is fine. And you're trying to cut off our money. Renault got car places in Iran. They don't drive the little Paycar no more. They drive Peugeots. They drive other. And Iran is in cahoots with European car makers. There's 2 cars they make of their own, good cars. Right? America is saying, hey man, we don't want y'all, we're going to cut off your money. And they're saying, look man, we white folks too. You can't, right? Okay, you was bad a few years ago. This is not World War II, man. We don't need you anymore. We don't want you no more. You're in the world and you're in the way. You're messing up everything. We don't need that crap that you're talking anymore. And you ain't gonna do nothing. And look how it treats its friends. Remember the Kurds and remember Turkey. So he hooked the Kurds up and put them in a position. And the Turks are saying, hey man, hey, this is what you're doing. This is in our interest. It's saying, just because you hate them, it's us. So I don't care what you say, the Kurds, the Turks ain't gonna sit back and let the Kurds have no state 10,000 miles away, especially next door. Because it's going to spread to their Kurds who they've been fighting for since they was there. But what do the dumb U.S. do? It tells its allies, we don't care about it's America's thing. NATO? You guys got to pay more. You got to do this, right? So, to the original question about Afghanistan, it's not only Afghanistan, it's everywhere. The U.S. has lost on every occasion prestige, honor, wealth. We're only guesstimating at how broke America is. But you know, anytime you can flim-flam with paper and stuff, America haven't produced anything for over 25, 30 years or more. All their money has been flim-flam money, right? Junk bonds back in the 80s.
Speculation.
Speculation.
Right.
Get everybody to come in the market, like the market is way up now. Soon as a few suckers put in some real money, that boy gonna drop. It's got to, because it ain't nothing but air. The American economy is going well. Yeah, you're working 2.5 jobs to pay one bill, right?
That's right.
Hey man, people is working, but for nothing. So anyway, Kwame, don't worry about Sam. He's stuck in Afghanistan, and when he leaves, he'll have his tail between his legs. Don't you worry. He's gonna leave. He's gonna leave. But he won't be the same as when he got there. Yeah, you gotta get some Band-Aids and a loving cup for him, because he's gonna need plenty of tender loving care. That boy gonna be hooked all up and psychologically defunct. Are there any other questions?
Nah, that was it on that.
Okay, alhamdulillah, bil alamin. Okay.